bath leads. So the bath leads. I just gotta go on there. You said, and I gotta watch the videos. I watched the videos already, so I got some
Okay.
information so far.
Yeah. So basically, you got your login, you got the videos, so you should be able to. Um, so when you go in and so here's what you want to be searching for. Whatever your geography is, and understand, we know Pennsylvania really well. We know northeastern U.S. fairly well. Outside of that, I mean, the one thing, and people do this, they do this professionally. I'm willing to work with you on it, but people do I'll advertise everywhere and I'll take any deal I get anywhere. I don't really know that that's the greatest plan, because Ryan and I get bit a lot, and we're pretty good at this when we're in a market we don't understand. Like, first time we went into Pittsburgh, okay, we didn't realize that this part of Pittsburgh was the combat zone. We did a half mile circle, and well, okay, great, but it's the combat zone. And part of that half mile was not the combat zone. Part of that half mile was the wealthy section. So we said, oh, the comps are $320,000. Well, it turns out we're in the other part where finished value is $120,000, because it's not the great part of Pittsburgh. So doing the OG, I'll take anything anywhere part isn't, in my opinion, we can do it, but it's not the greatest plan. Whereas if you're like, hey, Jersey, I understand, which we do have to get back to that Jersey later. I keep forgetting about her, but Jersey, I understand. In fact, let's do that tomorrow. Let's do that Thursday. Let's make sure between tomorrow and Thursday we actually call her, or either today at 4 or whatever. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave her hanging. But so, like, Jersey. Okay, if you're saying, hey, I want to learn Jersey, whatever, great. Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, Delaware, stuff around us, or a few other markets. I can give you, if you don't like those markets, there's 26 other markets. Pittsburgh, the reason I bring that one up is that is top 10 for investors for like the last 10 years. For something about Pittsburgh has just been on fire. So that's obviously that's a good thing. So within the batch leads, when you have an address, and we'll use this Fleet Street one because somebody actually asked us about this one. This one happens to be MLS listed. Once it is listed with a broker, we cannot touch it. Like an existing person we're selling a different house for said, hey, I also have this one. And I said, it's listed. She's like, yeah. So I said, I can't do it. I can't, because I'm licensed, go around, and nobody on my team can go around a broker listing. A wholesaler, whole different conversation. Whether we want to be whether we want to be gray area or not depends on the wholesaler. But we don't have a legal obligation. With a licensee, we have a legal obligation. But what you do is once a particular property, and this is what you're putting in the form, is you get all the basic crap here, and you'll see the phone number is also, well, this one's grayed out. I don't know why, but the phone numbers would normally be here. But here's really what you're using. Besides the list and the generating of calls, Batch Leads is great at that. When you're comping, you only want sold properties. That's all you want. Ideally, and the reason you don't want active or pending is because active is what they're asking for. They can ask 1.2 million. That doesn't mean it's worth any more than 50,000. And pending, when a property goes pending, it freezes at the asking price, because no one knows what the price is until the finish line, until it closes. You want typically sold in last 6 months. 12 is really stretching it. I don't know. 1 mile is even stretching it. Sometimes it comes up with like 5 miles, half mile, especially more dense of an area, smaller radius. And you can match these other criteria as well, and then you hit filter. And so now it's telling us sold, half mile, last 6 months. Not a lot of data for this particular property. Now I'm looking at this and I'm saying, all right, this is more suburban. So maybe I need to go out a mile. Maybe I need to go back a year. Maybe I need to go out a mile. You want to go back as little and out as little as you can to get comparable sales. Now you also got to be careful. Braddock and Pittsburgh, this is where knowing the market helps. I don't know if Braddock and Pittsburgh are the same school district. I don't know how one is respected more or less than the other. So you can also go and get a map and say, okay, where's the Braddock line? Where's the Pittsburgh line? And you can trace. Let's pretend that road is the Braddock versus Pittsburgh. I don't know if it is, but whatever. Then you can draw yourself a shape. And you can, scale this back. Get rid of this thing. Get it out of my face. And you can draw a shape and say, okay, bring me comps. Let's say I hypothetically knew this was the box that is Braddock. And now it's bringing me deals in that box, which apparently isn't Braddock, but whatever. The point is, you start to refine it. Now, you can also look at other sources. You can learn about Pittsburgh versus Braddock. But basically what we've learned here is that there's a few sales, 50s, 60s, and if you looked at the other Braddock, it's in the same swimming pool. All right, no problem. Then you Zillow the address, and you put this information from batch leads into the system. You also in batch leads you can select them, select property, select all thumbs up, actions, export comps to Excel, export comps to PDF, and you can put that in as an upload into the form so we have that data. You can screenshot this, you can whatever, put that in the form as it's. These are all more points of data, but you're also just going to make a note. Hey, I'm seeing comps. Now you also look at the pictures. All right, so what is something that sold for $60,000 look for? Now this address is not, this is your property address that you entered. This is the picture of the other property. And you look and you say, oh, okay, so it's nice, dated, lived in. All right. 2-bedroom, 1 bath. You also look at things like square footage. We're a couple hundred square feet bigger, which usually doesn't matter, but you only got 1,000 square feet. So we're 10, 15% bigger. And it sold for 63, and ours is at 56. Now ours has a crap load of pictures too. So if you look at the pictures on ours is freaking gorgeous. And she has it listed. She's not selling at this price. So you're collecting all this information so you can put it in the form we can discuss it. You're also going to Zillow the property. And you're going to include the Zillow link on it. You're going to Google the property. You can put the Google link in. You can Google Maps it, collecting all the different data into the form so we can make a decision. This also tells us, and batch leads would tell us, that she bought it for $21,000 from an auction. And we can even find out when she bought it by going to batch leads, and we can see price, ARV, spread, date. So she bought it 8/11/2025. So she bought it very much not long ago. It's been on market pretty much the entire freaking time it's been listed. It is active. It's active. We aren't touching it anyway, whatever. But now we understand she bought it. If we look at up here is going to tell us what she bought it for. Estimated value. Obviously, last sale price has got to be wrong. There's no way she paid $210,000. That was a data entry mistake because Zillow says $21,000. So you always take data with a grain of salt, basically. Or it wasn't Zillow, it was the other one. Somewhere else said that. So basically, now we've gained a lot of information. We also do our Google Maps. We do our flood zone. So Google Maps is simply literally either look for Google Maps. You say last sale price of $21,000. You either look for Google Maps and then you enter the property address. It'll probably help if I actually copy the address. Now we get a good overview of the neighborhood. We can measure the property, by the way, if you have a reason you need to know the square footage. Very difficult with row homes to figure exactly where the lines are. But if you right click on Google Maps, you can go to measure distance. And now I can measure. It's 45 feet this way. And then if I go over, like pretend, there's obviously a notch here on the building, but if I went over here to this corner where if the building didn't have a notch, it's 45 this way, and it's another, it's saying 56. I don't believe that. I believe it's going to be 40 by 20. You get to realize these aerials are a little off and my lines are a little off. So it's 800 square feet per floor. And the second floor is not full size, which that goes along with what we learned everywhere else, that we're looking at 1,100 square feet. So we're looking at 400 to 500 downstairs and a few hundred upstairs. All right. We then go to, this is the Google Street View look, and this is another link. There's Google Maps link and there's Google Street View link for the forms. And now we look at what the neighborhood is. Okay. Some deferred maintenance here. You know, the neighborhood is not perfectly maintained shape. The neighborhood is it's not bad. It's not gorgeous. So it's definitely a middle-class neighborhood. I go a lot off. Now, I would normally go down here and I would try to get a look at the roof. But it's a flat roof. I can't see crap. I go a little bit off. What am I looking at for cars? All right, I'm looking for late model, but not new. You know, middle-class, nice, solid vehicles in good shape. But again, we're not looking at Lamborghinis. We're not looking at Cadillacs. We're looking at Hyundais and Chevys. So that's who belongs here. What we're not seeing here is we're seeing porch furniture. We're seeing this telling me that kids play outside here. So parents are feeling safe enough about kids playing outside. We're seeing stuff in the yards. So we're not looking at a high theft neighborhood, high vandalism neighborhood. You know, we're seeing typical middle class, maybe a little lower middle class, but typical normal people stuff. We're not seeing, and this is a personal big one for me, there's people sitting on their stoop here in a chair like they set up a place. And there's people just sitting on their stoop or just standing here smoking a cigarette. And this is stereotypical, not about any race, but about just styles of neighborhoods. Nothing wrong with this. Hell, I did this most of my life. If I had a good stoop, I probably would do it now. But when you see this, people hanging out here without porch furniture in the Google shot, all right, are you looking at a neighborhood which is more people that have nothing to do? When you see several people out in the middle of a day, you know, So you're trying to learn what the neighborhood is and who the neighborhood is. You're looking for things like graffiti. You're looking for things like problem houses. You're looking for houses with tarped up roofs. Am I deal like here where I'm dealing with a perfectly normal middle class average street, a street that no family is going to be afraid to live on. They got the little welcome signs; those would be stolen in a bad neighborhood. So we've got a normal neighbors watch out for each other, normal people neighborhood. So I got no fears sending people to this property. I've got no concerns that, okay, could it be a gun zone? Absolutely. So this is what we've learned at this point. Then we collect all the other stuff on the form, the bedrooms, bathrooms, everything else. And then we also just added something here. And I will send this link around. We're still testing it a little bit, but I will send this link around once we're done testing it. Called Complete H4H GPT. And with this, I'm going to say, I'm going to have it give. Now you're not typing this. I'm having it generate the fake data, but you would be putting in your form data. You'd be putting in all your research, your Zillow link, your comps, your everything else that you've learned. And this is the important part. You would be telling it to also use its public sources. So you're going to give it Backfleet. You're going to give it Zillow. You're going to give it your form. You're going to give it everything you've got. And then you're going to paste this, which is basically your form content, and you're going to upload everything else. You can give it whatever you got. Upload PDFs, upload Zillows, upload whatever's. And then you're going to tell it, analyze flip and rental in this and you're telling it to use this and use whatever information it can generate, whatever resources it can Google, I guess, for that lack of a better term. And here it immediately stops off, normal, stress plus all. I'll teach you those later, but for right now, we're going to do all. And this result does not send you back to the seller. This result is information you put into the form, you put into the CRM, and you talk to us about. But here it gives a very reasonably thought through see, it should have also asked me repair estimates and other things. And it should be saying my Zillow research, my whatever research, my whatever research. Has resulted in this. So it's saying And this is what we're still tweaking out. So it's now telling me my prompt is a little off. My prompt didn't ask it to use outside information. So if it's going to ARV at 210, which may or may not, I mean, if that's what it's going to ARV on. And so it's giving max allowable offer. It's still messing up the formula. I still have to work on the prompt a little bit. ChatGPT is not, and this is why you will never go ChatGPT to seller. It'll never happen. Because, but this now puts us in a ballpark. It has some of these pads a little bit wrong. It's not using the pad the way it should. But that's something I got to work on with the prompt. That's why we haven't released this. All right, so that's how we use, and Nair, I'll send you the link to this. That's how we use this tool. That's how we set up batch leads. That's how we set up batch leads. That's how we do the research with Zillow and Google Maps and whatever. And that's also how we use the coming soon, not quite ready for prime time, all-in-one ChatGPT tool that we're building. Now you take all of that and you put it into your forms. And here we go. And this is you guys should store this link. I've sent you this before. This has all of our logins and all of our whatever and our scripts and everything else. And here is our wholesale seller form. So you take everything. You've already created the form pretty much if you're going to be using this. And you're not going back to re-edit the form. I'm just showing you the form to say, hey, if you're not familiar with the form, this is what I mean when I say the form. You're going to then oh crap. Sorry, I just realized I have to talk to REI Reply. Would really help if I was looking at the right email address. But so now we're going into Go High Level, which you also have. If you don't, let's walk you through and get you logged on. Alex, I know you have, Nair, I think you have, but if you haven't, let me know and I'll do it for you right now. We want to get you logged into, anybody who hasn't set up a time with me, let's get you logged in. When you're in here, your link may or may not take you directly to the REI homepage.
Yeah, I don't have it.
You and I did this on Sunday, didn't we?
No, we ain't do this on Sunday. You ain't have the time. You remember you had to do something with the cat?
All right. So let's do you both right now. Let's get you both in.
No,
Because
I
this,
think I do have it because you sent me the email and everything
yeah, okay.
for this. Yeah.
Yeah, so have you logged in?
Yes. I made a
Oh,
whole login and everything.
all right. So, Alex, we'll do this while you're here. But under opportunities, when you fill out a form, it becomes an opportunity. You can also, when this thing finally gets there, you can also add an opportunity. So you don't even have to use the form. You can just come in here and do everything in here. Um, and then, and Alex, are you in front of your computer? Because you've got to be on a computer to do this software. Being on your, I mean, very little of this is really the
I'm
only
I'm
thing
gonna
that's
get on the computer now.
okay. Yeah, the only thing of this that's phone capable is maybe pulling up batch leads and dialing from it. That's the only. Everything else is really screens are too small on phones. It just is. Um, but you have all of the questions here that are in the form. So whatever questions we didn't answer before, we can answer them now. You can also book and update an appointment. You can do tasks. You always do notes. Um, anytime you talk to a lead, do some more research, you're putting it in here in this contact details, opportunity details silo, and you're also putting hey in notes. Hey, we learned this on this date, spoke to this person, did this thing, and here's the information. So it's in both places. It's in the opportunity, the details. It's in notes. You could also upload files and stuff. Those are fun. And you can do click into this two different ways. You can click the big click, which does this, or you can do what I call the little click, which opens it up to full screen. I like the little click better. I like the way this is set up better. I can see the upload of documents. I can see all the other crap. And then when you feel you have, we'll go back to opportunities for a second. When you feel you have new seller, okay, so you'll see these columns. New seller lead, you filled it all in, but you haven't contacted them, so it's still back in new seller lead. When you contacted them, boom, there's contacted. So move these forward in the columns, but check with me first so I make sure. Probably for now, I'll move them forward in the columns and say, hey, I think I'm ready to move this one forward in the columns. This follows the whole life cycle of the deal. And it will eventually have little triggers in it that tell us what's missing and whatever. But right now, it's still very simple. All right, now here, or rather, Alex, are you ready? I'm going to try to get you my staff set up here.
Yeah, I'm on the laptop right
Yeah.
now, waiting for it to come on.
All right, so
Yeah, I have a login and everything. So.
All right, cool, yeah, and let's see, where were you? All right, so let me match just so you don't get confused. I'll create one here because you're right. I'm sorry. I thought we did this. Apparently you're not in here yet. All right, so what email do you want this to go to?
The ABUTTA.
Okay. A about a what?
76 at Gmail. Yeah, at Gmail.
All right, and then you can update this. We can update this later. But I just want to get the basic account set up so that you can then log in. You have account settings, you have account tools, you have automation control, logs, calendars. Yeah, for the most part, you'll never use most of this, but it's all okay. All right, so then there. Now it should
I'm
have
gonna
sent
ask
you.
you a question. What is this for? To look for properties?
No. So, all right, so the first software I showed you is Batch Leads to find the properties and to dial for the properties. This is when you fill out the form, it goes in here. And it works through in here. So the first thing you'll do is you'll either use our leads that are already in here. We already have leads in here now. Everyone makes lists, and it's really going to be an honor roll system of, like here's Will's lists. Don't use Will's lists. Let Will use Will's lists. Don't do that. These ones that just have names in them, go ahead and use them because they're just ones I created for different reasons. But if it's got the name of somebody already on it, don't. Just, and similarly, they should respect yours. I think there's a way for me to make it impossible for people to steal each other's lists, but for right now, just don't. If you want to start dialing a list, pick a list that doesn't have somebody's name on it. And you can start dialing by just clicking the phone number. You got to pick it again, and you hit dial. And life goes on. You can do it from your phone app, the app for Batch Leads, which is called Lead Connector HQ. Or you can do it from your computer. When you follow the instructions in the video, and this is the key thing, I don't train on that part because Batch Leads makes great videos, and I don't think I should need to. If you have questions, ask me, but Batch Leads can create lists of properties that end up here as named lists. You pick a geography, you give it some criteria, and it'll create a list, and all of a sudden that list shows up here. And you name that list your name, and you can dial from it. The dialing process also works from inside here. Miraculously, there are phone numbers. So, and you can do the exact same thing. You can click, and boom, there it is to dial. You can learn a lot about a property. You can look at sales and loans information. You can look at tax information. You can look at lots of other things. So basically, we have a lot of different options of how to use this. But when you create a list and it goes in here, you create a list in Batch Leads, you store it in Batch Leads. So all of your residential property research and dialing and whatever, you can dial on your own phone too. I don't care. Happen here in Batch Leads. When you fill out the form, which is this, and you're answering the questions on the property, it ends up in here, or you create inside of opportunities. You add another opportunity. You skip by adding an opportunity. You're skipping using the form. I like to use the form and then do it when it's in here. So I would personally fill out the form to the best of my ability, hit submit, it appears in here, and you can move on. Always keep your previous versions, like keep your paper notes that you put into the form until we know it's where it needs to be. Keep your form always keep your backup in case something doesn't go right. But what you're doing in here is you're updating the information. That's really what you're doing in the CRM. And eventually the CRM will do calculations. So you will take the result of this project here, of the AI, and you will paste it, oops, not there. And you will paste it, you will add it to notes. Say, hey, AI, boom. And you'll hit enter. And you'll also add it to the actual answers over here. You'll come down here to a field that, in this case, any other specific notes. Yeah. Well, so now we've updated it in two places. We've updated the notes and we've updated the actual answers. And that's the reason for this, is when you gain more, you've done your form, but you only had a few pieces of information. Now, more information. So it's both, I guess would be the way to put it. And so we've now looked at how to use Bax leads. If you have any questions, guys, it's a good time to jump in. How to use the form to enter the basic information and what to do when you get more information coming into the opportunity section. And then when you feel you've collected enough, it's almost never all, but enough. Okay, so at any point you can reach out to us and say, hey guys, as soon as it goes in the system, as soon as you fill out the form, hey guys, I just created a new property lead, filled out the form, here's the address, here's the seller, go ahead and take a look. It should also send us an email for everyone every time the form is used. Or, hey guys, I just updated this property. Why don't you, with this information, why don't you go take a look? And so you're always texting us also, but you're not having to dump the information so much as you're just saying, hey guys, look what I did. Kind of thing. And you'll see down here, you can add links, you can add other stuff. You're saying, hey guys, I just added to this file, this seller name, this address, I've added this information. So then we know go back to the form. Same thing. Hey guys, I think I've given you everything you need for this, including comps and yada, yada, yada. Okay, great. Let's play, basically. And that's when, somewhere in there, either from the first, hey guys, I filled out a form, to later down the line, a couple of days later when you get more information, we will jump in and we will almost immediately we will jump in if we can. We will jump in and we will all talk about values based on what we know. And if what we know changes, the value can change. So that's tying Bax leads or any data source, because this works with self-storage. This works in a slightly different channel, but basically the idea works for lending. So on and so forth. So any, so you go from raw data to called data to a form filled out to in the CRM adding more information until we can all make a decision on the property. Does that make sense? Any questions, guys?
That's pretty straightforward for me. You actually just reminded me that I got to start labeling my list. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, your list if you haven't been. Yeah.
Yeah. You actually literally just reminded me of that, because I'm looking at, as soon as you put it on screen, I'm looking at you showed the list and I'm like, all of those are basically mine. I got to label them.
I figured they were. Like, I was looking at it. I'm like, I don't remember doing all these lists.
Like all
mark them off. And I think eventually there's a way I can segregate them back to protect them. But I think we're a small enough group at this point that hopefully.
Because what happened was I thought it was like on individual logins, so I didn't think. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and here's the thing: I don't know from your login, you may not see anybody else's lists. I don't know what it looks like from your side. From my side, as sort of the top end, administrator login, I see everything. Maybe you guys don't see each other's lists, but it still helps if you label them, because then I know whose list they are.
Got you.
Especially because, and Nair, you might have been on later than the AI. We're building a GPT AI to do a brief analysis on the deals that come in. And eventually the questions that you answer eventually might be, I mean, I'd like to say March, but at this point, who knows? The questions that you answer in the form will also generate a repair estimate. The system will automatically calculate that and say, well, we think the repairs are this based on that. Always don't trust the chat GPT. First of all, you saw earlier in the video I fucked up. Second of all, if you don't know how to do the long division, and it all can be done by AI, if we can replace ourselves with AI, then so can other people replace us, and we never need to get paid. So you always, I'm doing a self-storage offer likely the next few hours, and the AI looked great, and the manual evaluator looked great, and the instinct of myself, my partner, and our mentor looked great. Okay, now we have all of it agreeing. But in a previous version, the AI looked great, but the physical evaluator didn't look great because there was something wrong in the prompt. AIs are only as good as their information. So what I'm saying is you never trust the computer. To err is human, but to totally fuck things up requires a processor. Yeah, so go in and label your things. Also, now, Alex, did you get the email to get logged in to the CRM?
Check it right now.
All right. Because there may be a time limit on that. I'm not sure.
Okay. Trying to figure out. I gotta relabel this one. So basically, I can see everybody's list. I'm looking now.
Okay. All right. So then
Yeah.
And that may be, I'll have to ask Batch, because that may be something I can control. But have you logged into Go High Level? That's the one I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, the CRM. Yeah, I have it.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got it. It says click here to log in.
Yep. So go ahead and do that because there may be a timer on it of some kind. I just want to make sure when we're on this call that you're logged in and you're done.
All right.
And I'm just gonna. So at this point, that's kind of what I wanted to make sure we were covered on. Oh, one other thing I wanted to make sure we were covered on is.
Oh, it says password. I gotta make up my own password.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no reason for me or anyone else on this call to know your own password. Now, we are also going to we finally are getting the AI dialer. It's functional. There's a disconnect on their end, and I had a family emergency yesterday. So tomorrow I'm meeting with them and saying, hey, talk to me about AI dialer. And by the way, I'm probably doing the class. I'm probably doing a double class on Thursday. I don't know that I'm going to be around tomorrow because I do have a doctor's appointment at 11:30. So I might be back by like 1 and I can see who's around, but I might just do a double class on Thursday. Gotcha. But so the AI dialer it was actually an AI voice dialer. Does not replace what you guys are doing. However, it's alongside of. However, if anybody wants to contribute to Autodot, an actual AI voice dialer or human voice dialer, let me know. Also, the data that we'll be feeding the AI dialer is special data we've been getting from we will soon be getting from an AI software. And I'll probably be releasing that data over here for you guys to call as well. This is motivated leads with an AI layer on top that says, basically, it double verifies the information. I can't really explain it right now, but basically, a major wholesaler that we're affiliated with uses this data source, and one of their clients wanted to partner with us on buying some data, which is really why I'm not sure I'm releasing it out to you guys or how we're using it yet, because I need to negotiate with that client. But when we do release it, I'm 95% sure we will.
So when you say pitch in on the AI dialer, you mean like what exactly?
So I mean, it's okay. So I had this conversation with Will yesterday. He actually said to me, he's like, I'm only finding a couple hours a week to call because of my real life. He's like, should I hire my own call center? Should I whatever? I said, you want to do that? That's fine. Or you want to chip in because Ryan and I are paying for this AI dialer. This actually a voice machine. I'm considering buying which these are all, I'm not looking to spend this long term. I'm looking to get you guys up and rolling, but at the same time, Will came to me and said, hey, listen, I'd be willing to spend some money to have something else do some of the dialing for me. If that's where you guys are at, great.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. That's why I got like assistants and stuff. So I mean,
yeah,
if it offsets that cost, then hey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean we can all separately talk about that offline. Like we're talking about here, that's fine too. So the AI dialer, we're paying for the base dialer, the base software fee. It's something it bills per minute, but the best I can gather is it's $2 to $3 per connected call, and like 25 cents or 10 cents for every not connected call. So and then as opposed to a really high quality. A woman I know on Facebook who is very successful in running call centers and as a wholesaler, her dialer human who she's trying to get me to pick up is $2,700 a month. So and truthfully, I don't know whether the AI dialer is going to be as quality, but I can send you the video of the AI dialer doing its thing, and it sounds pretty damn human. So I'm going to try that. I'm like, you know what? I'm willing to spend $300 a month and let the AI dialer dial whatever number of calls that is. And if somebody, Will wants to throw in a couple hundreds, whatever we have, we're like, all right. And the way we would do it, just so you guys understand, is obviously I'm in every piece of pie. But, if Will contributes to a certain number of calls, he contributes to calling these discrete names. And those are Will's leads. If you contribute to calling, because I don't know how else to do it, maybe there's a better way. And I'm not saying you guys need to, I'm just offering the option. Nair contributes, it's Nair's list or whatever list Nair and I agree to. That way it's discreet. We all know who gets credit when it comes through. As soon as that AI dialer collects stuff, information, whatever, it collects all the data, then it goes over to whoever was involved in that and goes from there. If no one's involved in it, I'm still going to share it out to you guys because I don't want to be on those initial calls. That's kind of where I do better is on the back office, the bigger end of stuff. So anyway, I'm only saying that we may have this better AI filtered data. Not that batch lead data is bad, but this has an extra layer of AI going on. And we do have opportunities if you guys want to chip in on, getting involved in whatever. I'm paying for stuff. So, Alex, are you logged into the CRM now? Because I just want to make sure before we, change gears that you're good and you're in, and we can do more training on that. But I want to make sure you're in, basically.
Yeah, I logged in.
Okay, all right. So basically, did it take you to? Because again, my login is like the top login, so it should take you to where it says REI homepage over here on the left corner. Did it take you to where it shows this? in the black bar REI homepage? If it didn't, just if it brings you in an agency view, which I don't think it does, but if it brings you in here, you need to switch to REI homepage. You got it? All right. So then if you have any questions on that, check with me. So the last thing I wanted to cover, because I do have a 12:30 training with Connor and Ryan on exactly what we're doing here. I just wanted to kind of break it up to not overwhelm everybody. Is there's another, we are able to, and I know I've mentioned it briefly, but we are able to offer money, as in lending, not your money. But we get paid about 1%, which we split about 50-50 with you guys, between 30 and 50%, depending on how involved you are. 30 and 60 actually, but on debt service coverage ratio money, which is long-term rental landlord properties, fix and flip money, and unsecured credit cards. So those three categories are all things we can make money on. And we make the unsecured is a little weird. Our commission is a little bit different on there. But then again, the unsecured is easy. They fill out a form and the unsecured company calls them and we never know squat about it. So once we've given a name and number, we really have no involvement. On the other one, we're involved in collecting data and basically being client interface. And we can start that up right away today. So the cranky part about lending is it's only 1%. So $100,000 loan, we're making $1,000, you're getting 500, you're getting 300, 500, 600, whatever. So it's not like, oh my God, money. The flip side is it's not a lot of time because all we're doing is asking questions that we've already been given, entering it into a system, double checking the information, and basically babysitting the client. The transaction coordination job is really all it is. The other good thing about lending is that it sells itself. Money sells itself. Investors always want money. So you simply put out, I have 3 people right now that want DSCR lending information from me. Like that I just, literally they posted on a Facebook forum, I'm looking for DSCR money. And again, same song as this other stuff is I don't want to be that front end of the funnel. The reason I'm willing to share the pie on this one is because you'll be collecting the information and sort of interfacing with the client. I'm double checking it before it goes upstream to the company we all work with. So, you know, you want to know more about that lending, touch base with me. We are direct. So, okay, so I'm direct to the guy who actually works for the hedge fund. We do have a couple other companies we can broker for, which are more like broadline. They've got like 5 or 6 lenders. But I do most of my stuff with Joe, first of all, because his fees are lower. And second of all, because if we say to people, we work with Joe Scarice, National Private Lender, check them out at creativeburststrategies.com. They look up Joe. I mean, not that any broker is bad, but they look up Joe, and Joe is impeccably connected. Joe's grandfather started his real estate investing firm. And for those who are really geeks about old TV shows, Joe's cousin or uncle cousin, whatever that is Alan Alda from MASH. But that's just kind of cool. But the rest of it is.
No, that is actually cool. What the heck?
Yeah. It's and real quick, it's funny because when I first met Joe, my business card says MASH, M-A-S-H, Maintaining Assets, one of my companies. And Joe looked at me, he's like, the fuck you have to do with MASH? I'm like, what is it to you? He's like, I'm related to somebody from MASH. And he's short. He's got a huge ass nose. He's bald. I'm like, who, Klinger? He's like, fuck you. Like, how is he? You look nothing like Alan Alda. How can I possibly have guessed that? But anyway, but basically, if you want to talk lending, you know, again, the money's not huge, but if you started doing, you know, what, 4 or 5 loans a month at $300, $500 a piece, okay, that's rent. You know, that's something. If you start doing bigger loans, because again, it's a percentage of the deal. You loan $1 million, we take 1% of $1 million, maybe a little less, but million's a big number. But 1% of $500,000 is $5,000. So, yeah, so we'll have training on that once I get Joe's, because Joe's moving companies. Once he's settled in the new company, we'll have more training on that. Probably after Wednesday the 11th, because next Wednesday I'm meeting with Joe about. I've been set up in this for a few months, but I haven't used it. And so anyway, all right. Any questions, guys?
No, not on my end.
All right, I'm going to jump over the other call. Alice, you good? You got any other questions?
No.
All right, yeah. So I'm going to jump to the other call. I'm busy from about 1 to 2, and I'll check back with you guys after that.
Okay.
All right, bye.